How many of you have heard that expression of women belong in the kitchen? Usually followed by barefoot and pregnant, right? That is perhaps one of the most sexist and outdated statements and sayings that we have as a society. However, when we take that and we put it into professional kitchens, you'll see that only 19% of the chefs that are running professional kitchens around the country are females. 47% of the workforce in kitchens are females. Why are we not on top of our game, right? So I'm going to tell you a little story of how I became a chef, why I started cooking. A little bit bittersweet. I was 18, and I was on my way to be moving away from Puerto Rico. I was going to be an anthropologist. That was the dream. And then my father died. My father died by suicide, which obviously, as you can imagine, was one of tragic, heartbreaking. And I was really angry. I was sad. I couldn't really communicate any emotion or any feelings towards my friends or family because I just couldn't deal with that. My goal was to take a year off, a gap year, and my mother, as stubborn as she is, was like, no, you're gonna go to school. So we settled, we meet in the middle, and I ended up staying in Puerto Rico and going to school for art history. So that was the easiest program that I could get into with 3 months of advance, right? And during that time, I started cooking for friends and I started cooking for my family as a way of grieving. What I didn't realize at the time was that that was a really powerful way to deal with its emotions, and till today is the way that I can show you how I feel, and if I really like you, I'll probably cook for you, not in my restaurant. Right, during that time, I started throwing these elaborate parties in my house for my friends and families. And what I realize now is what I was doing with this was gaining back power. I lost power. I didn't have the control in my life when I lost my dad. And by cooking, I gained some of that power back. Designing menus, deciding where I was buying from, who I was inviting to these parties. Like, you are in charge of creating an experience for people and allowing these people to have conversations and share ideas in a household or a table. Food is powerful, right? So when I told my family that I was gonna become a chef years later, they were like, wait, what? Because in their minds, a professional chef wasn't a thing. This is what, like maybe 11, 12 years ago. In Puerto Rico at the time, most of the chefs were males, and women were supposed to either cook for your family or you were domestic help. Which, it wasn't until really like 1960s that chefs were recognized by the Department of Labor as professionals. Prior to that, we were in the domestic help. Fast forward to the 90s and 2000s, and with the Food Network, Food and Wine magazine, Bon Appetit magazine, chefs start claiming like celebrity status. And at some point with Bobby Flay and Mario Batali and people like that, there's a celebrity status that they gain. And with that, obviously comes responsibility. So, and I say responsibility because a lot of chefs are utilizing that power and that image to create change in our industry and in our world. So chefs have buying power, and we have not only buying power, in a restaurant setting, any given day, we have politicians, doctors, cops, nurses, voters, anybody in this room. You are controlling what they're eating. They're trusting you to make the right decision on what you're sourcing, preparing it right, E. coli, and different things. They're trusting not only their life and their experiences, but also you have the power to create an environment in which ideas can be shared again. So after 9/11, there was what I like to call the migration of a lot of corporate America actually gravitated towards kitchens across America. Why? Perhaps they were glamorizing the lifestyle of the chef, like the rockstar status, or perhaps because they just wanted something that was a little more tangible. You're cooking food, you're getting that immediate feedback. It's a great lifestyle, right? And with that, we got a lot of diverse backgrounds, lawyers, analysts, accountants, into our kitchens and floors in restaurants all across America. And with that, you start seeing a lot of chefs actually getting involved in policy, in politics, and trying to make every decision that is happening in restaurants much better. So, for example, I have been really interested in working towards access to food and hunger. And that is because I always believe that you should work with something that you have a connection to. When I was 5 years old, my parents got divorced. And because I come from a family that is extremely Catholic and traditional, my grandmother was opposed to this divorce, of course. And we were not, my mother was not welcome in any of my family's home. And the first night that she left my father, we spent the night in a park in the middle of like our town, and I was exposed, and I was scared, and I was actually hungry. And the months that followed this decision of her getting the divorce from my dad, she eventually got a job and gave us a wonderful life, but that memory of being hungry and feeling exposed and feeling insecure forever will stay with me, right? And as I grew up older and I decided to educate myself on ways that I could help people that are food insecure, to use my voice as a chef to help organizations that I'm working towards this. And this is a trend that you're going to be seeing a lot through the country, like chefs that are using their experiences to partner with organizations and work into socially problematic issues. So you're going to be seeing like this trend of chefs utilizing the voice more than ever. Across the country, there is a network of different chefs that we met 3-4 years ago, and we have been exchanging visits to our different cities and raising money for our different nonprofits. And we met 4 years ago. It was 4 women. We had a conversation about the struggles of being a female in the kitchen, and then that led to an interesting email after the last election, and we promised that we were going to support each other's ventures, and we kept that promise. I've been in Lexington, Detroit, DC, raising money for nonprofits, and to this date, between all of the work that the 4 of us have done, we have raised over $200,000 for which brings me to the thing is showing up and being there and supporting other women, supporting people who are doing a job, who have the opportunity, have the face to change the world, is key. Once you give people the platform and they're using it as customers, the best thing that you can do is find who in your neighborhood, in your city, is doing a good job with that, and go there. Like, spend your money on people who are spending their time and their money in good causes. Everything becomes a spider web, and I think that's the only way that real change is going to happen. Thank you.